Eddie here from Priority. Let's talk about adjusting the belt tension on your Priority bike. Here we're going to go over adjusting it on the Apollo, but the same process is applicable to our Onyx model, our Touring model, the 600 and the 600X. And it's a simple process. The reason you want to have your belt tension correct is if it's too tight, you can feel a notchy feeling in the belt, it won't run smooth, and it'll cause your belt to wear out faster. If the belt is too loose, then you can get jumping, and that's no fun. But it's an easy process to adjust, and it takes simple tools. The tools we're going to need today are a 4mm Allen key, a 5mm Allen key, a 15mm open wrench, and a smartphone. Let's get into it. If it seems like your belt tension is off, the first thing you want to check is to make sure that your wheel and your rear axle is fully seated in the rear dropouts. So let's go through that process. With the bike on the ground and upright, take your 15mm wrench and loosen the axle nuts. Now, with a little bit of weight on the bike to make sure that the wheel is pushed fully up into the dropouts, go back and retighten those axle nuts. Nice and firm so the tool leaves an imprint in the palm of your hand. Now, the next thing you want to check is to make sure the wheel is aligned in the frame. If you look down at the wheel's relationship to the chainstays, you can make sure that there's even spacing with the chainstay on this side of the rim and the chainstay on this side of the rim. You can use calipers to measure this precisely, but visually you can also check and just see if it's relatively close. If the wheel is askew to one side or the other, you can get rubbing or grinding. So you want it to be pretty even. To check the tension, use the Gates app. Select bicycle. Now, holding your phone up close to the belt in a nice quiet area, strum the belt. And as you strum it, you want to find a couple different positions on the belt to test. So you can see that I'm getting a relatively consistent reading right around 50 Hertz. So what do we recommend for this bike or for the bikes like this? We can actually go to the tension recommendations within the Gates app and check. So this is an internally geared hub. So that means the readings that we want to get are between 35 and 50 Hertz using this app. So we're a little on the high side. So let's go over how to reduce this slightly. So here on the rear dropouts, we have the slider bolts that hold the position of the rear wheel and the belt tension bolts that adjust the position of the rear wheel. So you can see that we have them on this side, and we also have them on this side. So we want to do that equally to make sure that the wheel is positioned evenly. So the first step, if we want to loosen the belt tension, is to loosen the slider bolts with our 5mm Allen key. We don't have to remove them, just need to back them off a little bit. And we're going to do this on both sides. So now, to remove tension from the belt, we're going to back the tension bolts out a little bit using our 4mm Allen key. So I like to do this pretty much half turns at a time. We know this is a really small adjustment, and this belt tension is very sensitive to adjustments here. So I'm just going to do basically a half turn with this tool on each side. Now I'm going to make sure that the wheel is snugged up against the tension bolt. So I'm just basically pushing it from behind. I'm going to give the belt a squeeze to make sure everything's pulled up. And then I'm going to snug up the slider bolts one more time. For those of you with a torque wrench, you're going to want these to be between 12 and 14 Newton meters. Okay, so now let's go back and check our belt tension again with the app. Now, it might take a few tries to get this perfect. My best recommendation is to make subtle adjustments and check as you go with the Gates app until it's perfect. To add tension to your belt, it's basically the same process as removing tension, but you turn the belt tension screws in the opposite direction to push the axle backwards, and then snug everything up and check with the Gates app. Now, you can apply this process to the Apollo like we did here today, but it's the same process to adjust the belt tension on our Onyx model, the Touring, the 600, and the 600X. If you have any questions about adjusting your belt tension, proper belt tension, or any other maintenance or anything about your bike, we're here to help. The contact information is on your screen.